In the NFL, flash and personality often command as much attention as actual on-field talent. But every once in a while, a player comes along who does it differently. They do this by letting their game speak volumes while staying quiet off the field. Julio Jones was this kind of player.
There's been games, I know, I just blocked the whole game and we win. I'm happy, I can go out there and catch 4 touchdowns, 400 yards, and we lose the game. It's like, okay, we got to find a way to win the game.
During his career, he dominated defenses, racked up record-breaking seasons, and became one of the best receivers of his generation. But unlike many of his peers, Julio was not making headlines with theatrics. His soft-spoken nature left him in the shadow of a flashier player like Antonio Brown. But make no mistake, his impact on the game was massive. And that's why I'm making this series, to appreciate superstar players who don't get the shine they rightly deserve.
In this lifetime, you don't have to prove nothing to nobody except yourself.
Welcome back to Unlikely Success. Like, comment, and if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. Today, we're diving into the rise and quiet reign of Julio Jones, one of the NFL's more underappreciated superstars. Julio Jones entered the spotlight at the University of Alabama, where he was the crown jewel of Nick Saban's 2008 recruiting class. He arrived with sky-high expectations as the top wide receiver prospect in the country, and it did not take long for him to deliver. He burst onto the scene as a freshman with 58 catches for 924 yards and 4 touchdowns, helping Alabama reach the SEC championship game. His size, speed, and physicality made him an immediate star in college football. But even then, his demeanor was different. No showboating, no loud celebrations. Julio was all business.
What's that supposed to mean?
It's a compliment if you think about it.
By his junior season, he had solidified himself as one of the top receivers in college football, earning All-American honors and helping the Crimson Tide win a national championship. With his stock soaring, he declared for the 2011 NFL Draft, and this is where his legacy as one of the NFL's greatest receivers began. The Atlanta Falcons traded 5 draft picks to move up to the 6th overall draft spot and select Julio Jones in 2011, a move that shocked some, but thrilled Falcons fans, as the pick gave their star quarterback, Matt Ryan, a new offensive weapon. In his rookie season, Jones showcased his elite skills, catching 54 passes for 959 yards and 8 touchdowns. It was clearly a sign of things to come. But while Jones was lighting up the field, another receiver, Calvin Megatron Johnson, was already captivating the NFL with his size, speed, and freakish athleticism in Detroit. Jones would have a dominant 2012 with 1,200 receiving yards and 10 touchdowns, but it would pale in comparison to Megatron's record-breaking year, where he set the NFL single-season receiving yardage record. Even so, Julio kept grinding and perfecting his craft. His plan was to become the league's best receiver.
Fellas, we're broken. We need to change.
From 2014 to 2019, Julio Jones was arguably the most consistent and dangerous wide receiver in the NFL.
Oh, it's true.
It's damn true.
He posted 6 straight seasons with over 1,300 receiving yards, including a jaw-dropping 1,871-yard season in 2015. But here's the thing, Julio never really called any extra attention to himself.
I love when I see other people complaining.
There were no diva antics, no controversial interviews, and no outrageous touchdown celebrations. He stayed focused on football, putting up big numbers and helping his team win games. During the same time period, Antonio Brown was dominating headlines with his electric play for the Steelers and his equally electric personality off the field. Brown's flashy persona, touchdown celebrations, and social media presence made him a fan favorite and a media darling. Well, before how it is now.
What do you think about AB maybe joining the Falcons? Would you like to see that?
Who that?
Antonio Brown, would you like to see him join the Falcons?
Nah, man, we tight over here. We good over here.
Well, that was awkward.
Yes, it was.
The Ryan to Jones connection would deliver several unforgettable moments, but 2 of the most notable were Jones's clutch 73-yard reception in the 2016 NFL Championship game that helped send Atlanta to the Super Bowl, and during the Super Bowl, his insane grab that almost staved off New England's epic comeback.
The Falcons had that game in their hands. They had it wrapped up, basically.
They did, and I thought the 92 Braves had the World Series wrapped up as well. Disappointing night. We've been here. We've done that before. Tom Brady just had a Tom Brady kind of fourth quarter. The Falcons, for 3 quarters this game, they cruised. It was over. The Vince Lombardi Trophy was headed back to Atlanta. It was finally the Falcons' night after 51 years, or so it seemed.
But then Tom Brady happened.
Well, that was awkward.
Yes, it was.
Sort of a private conversation.
Very much a family-type moment.
Would Jones be remembered differently if the Falcons had won that Super Bowl? I'm honestly not sure if it fully shifts the narrative, but maybe it would have captured him some more attention. As always, though, his quiet nature continued to keep him out of the spotlight. Calvin Johnson retired in early 2015, and Antonio Brown's career took a sharp turn after a series of off-field issues, but Julio Jones remained a steady force.
You know, everybody can be against you. When you feel like, you know, it's tough, but it's at the end of the day, it's on you.
Even with his jaw-dropping stats, his legacy never seemed to gain the full recognition it deserved. Part of that could be his quiet demeanor. Part of it could be the lack of that Super Bowl ring, as the Falcons' Super Bowl run is mostly remembered for the soul-crushing loss, rather than Jones's clutch plays that nearly won it. Despite being the centerpiece of one of the most explosive offenses of the 2010s, Julio never became the media sensation that other stars did. It's as if the NFL spotlight is always reserved for the loudest and most brash, and never properly shined on quiet excellence.
Look at me, son. It's not your fault.
Julio would leave Atlanta in 2021 to join the Tennessee Titans. Interestingly, he was replaced by DeAndre Hopkins, another of the quiet superstars covered in this series. Unfortunately for Jones, his time in Nashville did not work out well, as all the injuries he had accumulated started to catch up to him. His production dipped, and the days of 1,400-yard seasons were far behind him. All in all, he's a 7-time Pro Bowler, 5-time All-Pro, and finished with more than 13,000 receiving yards. He also has the most receiving yards per game in NFL history. These career numbers place him amongst the best wide receivers ever.
Pretty good.
Julio Jones may not have been the loudest or most flamboyant receiver, but his play on the field spoke for itself. While Antonio Brown may have taken center stage at times, Julio's quiet dominance earned him a place in the conversation as one of the greatest wide receivers ever. And maybe that's how he wanted it all along. Sometimes the best players are simply the ones who show up, do their job, and let their performance speak for itself. This has been the unlikely success.
You know, just hard work pays off, right? So that's the biggest thing, just doing all the little things, and it's going to pay off. So, I mean, I'm happy with it, but, you know, I got to keep going.